right, today we're diving into what is, I think, the single most important idea in modern web developments. We're talking about React components. And trust me, this one concept totally revolutionized how we build the websites and apps we use every single day. So let's get into it. Okay, so have you ever just stopped and wondered, how does a massive website like, say, Netflix or Airbnb actually work? I mean, think about it. You've got thousands of features, buttons, menus. How on earth do developers keep all of that from just becoming a complete and total mess, a giant tangled ball of code?
Well, the answer is surprisingly simple. And it kind of has to do with Legos. Yeah, you heard me right. Legos. See, modern websites aren't built as one giant single piece of code. No way. Instead, they're pieced together, assembled from all these tiny, independent, and reusable blocks.
And that right there brings us to the star of the show today. These blocks are what we call components. And honestly, you can just think of them as the web's very own Lego bricks. It's the perfect analogy. So let's unpack that a bit. A component isn't just a button or a search bar, the visual part. It's so much more. It's a totally self-contained little package. It's got its own logic, which is just a fancy way of saying its own rules for how it works, and it manages its own state, which is kind of like its own little memory. It's the whole shebang in one neat little box.
Exactly. You can think of every single component as its own tiny little application. It's totally independent and isolated, right? So the search bar component can't accidentally break the user profile component. They don't interfere with each other. And like we said, it's got everything it needs packed inside. Its own HTML for structure, its CSS for style, and its JavaScript for behavior. It even keeps track of its own data, its state, like, hey, has this button been clicked yet? And the most important part, it's reusable.
But, not all Legos are the classic 2x4 brick, right? You've got your simple, basic blocks, but you also have those complex, specialized gear pieces. Well, it's pretty much the same deal in the world of React. There are two main flavors of components. So on one hand, you've got functional components. These are your simple bricks. They're just plain old JavaScript functions, super easy to write, super easy to understand. This is the modern, standard way to do things now. Then you have class components. These are the more complex gears. They're the older, more traditional approach, and they just have a lot more internal mechanics you have to worry about. Honestly, these days, you're almost always going to be reaching for those simple, elegant, functional components. Okay, now we get to the real magic, the superpower, the one thing that makes components an absolute game changer for how we build websites, and that is reusability. This is the core concept right here. Think about it. Once you've designed and built a component, let's say the perfect like button, you are done. You never have to build it again. You've basically created your own custom-made Lego brick, and now you have an infinite supply of them. You can pop that button wherever you need it, as many times as you want.
Let's walk through how this actually works, because this is where it really clicks. So step 1, a developer builds one single like button component. They get it just right. Okay, step 2, they start using it everywhere. They put it on a user's profile page, on a blog post, next to a photo, anywhere they need it. Now, here comes the magic. Let's say the design team wants to change the button color from blue to green. The developer doesn't have to go find every single button and change it. No, they just go to that one original file, change the color once, and boom, instantly every single like button across the entire website updates. That is the incredible power of reusability.
Okay, so this all sounds cool for developers, right? But why does this actually matter? Why is this seemingly small idea of a component such a huge deal for all of us? Because this way of building things just makes the web better. For developers, it means they can build things way faster because they're just reusing pieces they've already made. And fixing bugs, so much easier when you can narrow down the problem to one tiny little component. And for you, for the person actually using the website, it means you get a much more consistent, reliable experience. Things just work the way you expect them to. And for big companies, it means they can build these massive, complex projects that can grow and scale without completely falling apart at the seams. When you really think about it, this is a massive shift in philosophy. We're not really building web pages anymore, not in the old sense. We're building entire systems of these smart, interlocking, reusable components. It's a whole new way of thinking about what a website even is. And that really leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about, right? If websites are just collections of these smart, reusable blocks, what's next? As these components get even more powerful, even smarter, and even easier to put together, what kind of amazing things are we going to build? It really makes you wonder,